Darkcast Network, indie pods with a dark side.
Hi, listeners. We're back this week with a What the Fuck episode, and you might be very surprised to hear new episodes from us 2 weeks in a row because it's been 9 months. But here we are, being productive, back on track, in your ear holes. And you know what? It's September 1st, which means it's almost fall.
I mean, it's literally Halloween.
It's literally Halloween already. Like, I saw a post the other day that said people who decorate for Halloween early are happier. And that seems
that
correct.
Tracks because, my little creepy corner of podcasting creation is decked out year-round in Halloween decor. So,
is it really just your podcast corner that's decorated for Halloween?
No.
All year round?
No.
If we're being honest.
I live in a cave, okay? Yeah. I got to keep with the aesthetic.
You know what? But does that make you happier all year round?
Yes.
That's the real question. See, Amber is living proof that yes, decorating for Halloween does make you happier. So,
and I don't need any of that damn sunshine to boost my serotonin. Just give me some bats and frickin' skulls and cozy blankets and sweaters and I'm good.
As I am stuck in a very bright space with lots of natural light, but I still have skeletons next to me and am happy to bring out my Halloween decorations any day now. So, and you have brought me over to the dark side. I do love black now.
It's really funny just looking at our video recording. I am full black background, black sweater, black headphones, and you are little Miss Light and Sunshine with your goddamn plants and white headphones and natural
and
vitamin
literal
D
sunshine
and
pictures.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes.
Can't forget those.
Yes. We should take a picture of this and post it so people can see literally, yes, really we are complete opposites.
It's fine.
And yet we're besties and this all makes sense.
Totally.
But yeah, so we are here with another one of our favorite types of episodes because last year we did Tales from the Morgue and that was by far my favorite thing we've ever done. And I think it was a lot of our listeners' favorites as well. So for our first What the Fuck Wednesday of, almost the end of 2024.
Hey, we're still in 2024. It counts.
It counts. Okay. We're here in 2024. It counts. So yeah, we're back. We're back for some more morgue stories today.
Oh God, but I cannot tell you how many times I've had the meme of Professor Farnsworth in my head. I don't want to live on this planet anymore when I come across stuff like what we're talking about today. Can we all just not be garbage dumps? Is that a possibility?
No, it's not possible. I mean, you've seen the pictures of the literal dumpster going down the road in the water on fire. That is the definition of who we are as people now.
That's a good visual representation.
It's really not surprising to me. But the fact that stories like these keep coming up is very concerning, which is why we need to talk about it.
Are you all okay? Do you need help?
Therapy is your friend. Okay? Maybe start a hobby on Etsy. Okay? We don't need to go selling body parts.
Don't make that your hobby. Specify. Not a garbage dump hobby of selling body parts, just a hobby.
a
freaking
healthy
stickers, sarcastic stickers. Everybody loves sarcastic stickers.
Everybody loves a good sticker. Stick on those Stanley water bottles that everybody loves so much. You're good to go. It's never ending. But before we jump in with the garbage dumpage, let's hear our riddle. What is so delicate that saying its name breaks it? Stay tuned to the end to find out the answer.
So back in June of last year, yes, literally 2023, An alleged scheme involving the exchange of human remains that were stolen from none other than Harvard Medical School's morgue was made public. I say made public because it all actually went down back in like 2018 to 2020. Cedric Lodge, the former manager of the Harvard Medical School morgue, was one of the accused individuals involved in the scheme, or schemes, I should say, rather. Cadavers were donated to the anatomical gift program to be used for research and later returned to the families or buried in a cemetery in Massachusetts. But according to officials, up to 400 body parts were stolen and sold from the morgue. Along with Cedric Lodge, the other people indicted were Denise Lodge, Cedric's wife, Katrina McLean, Joshua Taylor, Matthew Lampy, Jeremy Pauley, and Candace Chapman Scott. Yeah, a lot of names, but we'll break it down for you. In reports, it says that between 2018 and 2021, Joshua Taylor sent 39 electronic payments for stolen human remains to Denise Lodge through PayPal for a whopping total of about $37,000. You know how you can add memos to payments when you send them? Yeah? Well, this guy put a memo on one payment that said, head number 7. And this one. And another one that just read, brains, and emphasis on the multiple eyes in brains. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're going to be part of like an illegal body part selling and buying operation, don't you think you'd be a little more sneaky with the names on like your PayPal payments?
I mean, people...
Instead of being so obvious?
But people don't even realize that their phone tracks their location and other things, so this isn't that surprising.
That's true. Guys, your phones know everything. They hold all information. Nothing is private or sacred. Stop. Just stop being stupid. So, Matthew Lampy allegedly exchanged more than $100,000 with Jeremy Pauley as they bought and sold items made from human remains. In Peabody, Massachusetts, Katrina McLean ran a store called Cat's Creepy Creations, and in 2020, she allegedly paid Cedric Lodge $600 for 2 desiccated faces, and that she had been permitted to enter the morgue to choose the parts she wanted to purchase, including skin, brains, and bones. She supposedly shipped human skin to Jeremy Pauley so he could tan it and turn it to leather, according to a report. Her store sells creepy dolls, bone art, and other oddities. Yeah, I bet they are oddities. Go figure. So on Jeremy's Facebook page, in a public post, he showed off 2 silver cufflinks with human skin and hair inlay, which he described as a quote-unquote personal project. Pauley was arrested in 2022 and accused of buying stolen remains from Candace Chapman Scott. She had allegedly stolen human remains from her employer at a mortuary and crematorium in Little Rock, Arkansas. She was also accused of stealing parts of cadavers as well as 2 stillborn babies. Oh my God. That were meant to be cremated and returned to their families. In September of 2023, Pauley pleaded guilty to his charges and admitted to his role in a nationwide network of individuals who bought and sold human remains stolen from Harvard Medical School and an Arkansas mortuary. Multiple class action lawsuits were filed by families who were affected by the choices and actions of these individuals. But a judge threw out the cases in February 2024, saying there's no evidence that Harvard and Lodge's supervisors didn't act in good faith. The families have luckily appealed.
Believe it or not, this isn't the first case a university's morgue was caught for stealing and selling cadavers. The University of California, Los Angeles' willed body program encountered some scandal when Henry Reed, the former director, and Ernest Nelson, a former employee of the morgue, were convicted in a conspiracy case to buy and sell remains for personal profit. Reed pled guilty and was sentenced to 4 years and 4 months in state prison, while Nelson was sentenced to 10 years after a jury found him guilty on 8 counts. You're probably thinking, okay, Amber, well, this is old news. This sort of thing has been happening for forever, so why are we still talking about it? Yeah, you're right. It has been happening for a long time.
Mhm.
A history professor at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, and author of Bone Rooms, Sam Redman, says, quote, "People very rarely know or fully comprehend that there are more than 500,000 sets of human remains in the United States and probably another 500,000 sets of native remains that are held by museums in Europe." End quote. In his book, he details the history of the collection and showcasing of human remains. Bone rooms are typically large, cool, dry rooms with a distinct odor lying behind a wooden door with cabinets and drawers holding various remains.
All of this really isn't black and white. It's more of a gray area. In 42 states, it is apparently legal to sell human remains in brick and mortar stores, as there is no law that specifically states that selling human remains is illegal. I don't feel like that needs to be a law, but it kind of reminds me of like when you see warning labels on packages, like don't do this with this item, that seems really, really like obvious, but obviously they had to put that on there because somebody was stupid enough to do it. That's just kind of what it reminded me of. Yeah. According to Tanya Marsh, a professor at the Wake Forest University School of Law in Florida, Georgia, Massachusetts, Missouri, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia, it is broadly illegal to buy and sell human remains, and even if you do, the penalties are relatively low. In Massachusetts, the law states whoever buys or sells or has in his possession for the purpose of buying, selling, or trafficking in the dead body of a human being shall be punished by a fine of not less than 50 nor more than $1,000 or by imprisonment for not less than 3 months nor more than 2.5 years. Wow, that's a really low punishment. The Harvard case crosses multiple borders with a variety of state laws, and the penalties for buying and selling of stolen goods are much higher than the state laws specifically targeting the sales of stolen body parts. With no federal laws regarding human remains, the individuals indicted were charged with conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen goods. If convicted, they could face up to 15 years in prison, according to prosecutors.
Tanya Marsh also states that the laws regarding human remains have been created episodically, meaning when the public learns of a disturbing event, such as this whole Harvard fiasco, a series of laws are proposed to prevent this particular event from happening again, such as grave robbing or other laws specifically around remains already buried, which makes sense. It's hard to preemptively create laws based on unpredictable situations. As mentioned, there is no federal law regarding human remains. There is a federal law directly related to Native American remains. In November 1990, the NAGPRA was enacted to provide repatriation and disposition of certain Native American human remains and sacred objects. It took years of Native American lobbying due to the extensive collection and unfair treatment of remains in museums and private collections. Needless to say, the entire situation with Harvard Medical School's morgue has terrified medical schools across the country. The body broker bill was introduced by the National Funeral Directors Association and would create a clear chain of custody for each human body or part, ensures shipments of human bodies and body parts are properly labeled and packaged, and ensures the respectful and proper disposition of donated bodies and body parts. Also known as the Consensual Donation and Research Integrity Act, it would establish penalties for violations.
It should go without saying that the families impacted by the stolen and sold body parts were incredibly upset. And to make matters worse, the lawsuits filed by the families were being urged by Harvard University to the judge to dismiss. We could repeat all the legal jargon back and forth between Harvard University's lawyers and the lawyers representing the families, but in a nutshell, Harvard is covered under a Massachusetts law that governs the donation of bodies to medical schools, and since the families have no factual evidence that suggests the university had involvement in the stealing and selling of the body parts, that the fault lies with Cedric Lodge, the former manager. Martin Murphy, a lawyer for the school, told a state court judge that Harvard Medical School was, quote, deeply sorry for the uncertainty and pain, end quote, the family suffered as a result of the alleged actions of Lodge. The family's lawyers said that nothing in the state's Uniform Anatomical Gift Act supported shielding Harvard from liability for allowing donor bodies in its possession to be unlawfully displayed, dismembered, and trafficked.
I mean, it's not like this only went on for a couple of months. This whole scheme spanned a few years, and the school never caught on.
I don't know if I buy it.
As mentioned earlier, Cedric Lodge even allowed people in to the morgue to examine cadavers and go shopping for their various body parts. Cedric pleaded not guilty to the conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen goods charges and was scheduled to face trial in federal court in August, but clearly it's been delayed. Denise pleaded guilty to a charge of interstate transport of stolen goods and faces up to 10 years in prison. Even though the family's attorneys argued that Harvard was negligent in its duty to safeguard the donors' bodies and moving forward with the suit could let them learn more about how body parts could be stolen, a judge dismissed the lawsuit. He said that it may not seem fair that Harvard can avoid responsibility and liability in this case, but the court must follow the clear command of the UAGA, which is the Universal Anatomical Gift Act, immunity provision, and that the complaints do not allege that any of the Harvard defendants knew what Lodge was doing or that any of the Harvard defendants gave Lodge permission to do so. We'll just have to see how the rest of the court proceedings play out.
And Harvard brought in a hand-picked panel to evaluate the gift program and found faults with how the program was run. Surprise, surprise. Including lack security and a less than stellar system for tracking the donor bodies. Harvard apparently made significant security upgrades, but wouldn't go into specifics. Neither of Lodge's bosses lost their jobs, which doesn't seem right. Harvard put the program on hold for 5 months, but it is up and running again now. There's also a new job listing for Lodge's position that states the employee will work, quote, under minimal direction, end quote, and the individual should uphold the highest standards of care to ensure the utmost respect of all human body donors.
I told you. Garbage dump. It's people that take advantage of the fact that there is no federal law strictly prohibiting what they're doing. That's why, in the PayPal memos, there was no law prohibiting them from selling like that. So yeah, he got cheeky with this, that memo, the brains one, and I know it would be impossible to track down what families, what parts belong to. But I mean, think being one of those family members that knowing your loved one had been treated that way and your loved one's brain was referred to in a very zombie-esque manner. It's just...
That's so insulting.
It's insensitive, and people are garbage dumps.
And these people go into these positions and work in these fields to essentially help others and to learn. And people donate their bodies to these programs because they want students going into these professions to be able to learn and go on to help other people.
And it's Harvard.
And then you have scum of the earth like this who see it as an opportunity to profit off of someone else's loss. It's just disgusting. And honestly, anybody who was in that program or above or around Lodge should have been fired. for not knowing that he was doing that.
Oh, they said under minimal direction, like they're not going to babysit.
Maybe you should have more direction and make sure that your employees aren't pulling shit like this.
I mean,
I don't know.
it's just a thought.
I don't know. You wouldn't think something like this would be going on at Harvard, but you don't really expect a lot of things to be happening.
And that's why
that do.
Stuff does happen, because you don't expect it. People aren't going to think about it. And that's why that whole, like, you can't make these laws preemptively because you don't know what stupid people are going to do. It's just, I mean, the stupidity running rampant, we should be able to predict a little bit more here and there, but I digress.
The depths of this stupidity is never ending, so. So to finish off today's episode, we have some new funny and creepy morgue stories to share with you via Reddit. Because, we love Reddit around here. So first up is a post by Captain Sarcasm. Here is a funny story from my grandma. She used to work in an emergency room in Puerto Rico. Some guy had passed away, and so the doctor came up to her and asked her to prepare the body to go to the morgue. So she got some sheets and started to wrap this guy up. She crossed his legs. Suddenly, his penis became fully erect and was straight up. Oh, God. She wasn't sure what to make of it, but it forced her to have to redo the sheets. So she uncrossed his legs. The penis went down. So she was like, all right, let's get this over with. Then she crossed them again, and lo and behold, it went straight back up. Tried one more time, and then she got freaked out and went back to the doctor. Obviously, he found this hilarious as the guy apparently had a prosthetic in his penis. Oh, God. Also, shout out to Obituary podcast that I listen to all the time. Death erections are a thing. So that's originally what I thought as I was reading this. I was like, oh, maybe it's that kind of situation. But a prosthetic? Oh, God. No.
I'm glad I don't have one of those to deal with.
No. The prosthetic or the penis? Both.
Let's just, both.
Both. I'd be like, okay, doc, you get to handle this. I'm out.
I'm out. Done.
No, never handling a male patient again. Thank you very much. No.
All right. Number 2 on our list is from I Am Blankenstein. My wife is a mortician. She's had quite a lot of wacky experiences. This is more funny than creepy, but once she was trying to break up the rigor mortis in a decedent's hip by flexing the entire leg up. Her grip slipped, and the leg swung down, the heel cracking her right in the face, resulting in a black eye. She had to explain to people that she's not in an abusive relationship. She just got kicked in the face by a dead guy.
Oh my God. That's a great story to tell at parties.
I mean, I wouldn't want to go through the experience just to have that story, but I'll enjoy it from afar.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Be like, no, I did not hit my wife. The dead guy at work kicked her in the face.
If they don't know them personally, they'll be like, this dude's crazy. We gotta get out of here.
Because that's the first thing you think. Like, full disclosure, I've had fillers put under my eyes before, and that area of your skin is very sensitive. It bruises. And Corey was like, cool, we're not going out in public until this heals because people are going to think that I did that to you. And I did it. So yeah, that is the first thing people will think if you see a woman with a black eye. So I don't blame her for it being an uncomfortable situation, but hey, that's a really great story to carry with you. So yeah. Okay, our next one is from Henry's My Agent. Okay. Had a gig doing the overnight transport of dead bodies. Think black suit, white shirt, black tie, unmarked black van, and boss made us wear white gloves. That sounds pretty badass. He wanted us to look high end. Needed to transport a recently deceased middle-aged woman, breast cancer, 250 miles in the dead of night from a hospital morgue to a mortuary near her extended family. It's been a solid 2 hours of total silence when the corpse lets out a low wail. Sounds like, I about shit myself. Oh my God. As I swerve off the freeway and spray out a rooster tail of gravel and dirt. Even though intellectually I know this is just stomach gases escaping the body, I couldn't help but be a little freaked out. Oh, yeah.
Dead of night, out probably in the middle of nowhere, and you got the body doing what it's going to do. No, nah.
That's like a horror movie waiting to happen.
I'm sure that's happened in a horror movie at some point.
I'm sure it has. It's probably where they get the idea from, you know? Oh, God, that poor guy. I don't think I could do a job like that. That's a little too creepy for me, but good for you, bud.
Next up is from Nacho Squid. I worked at a funeral home for quite a while. When I first started, about a month in, I was working a holiday weekend. Only people working were the transport guys and me. They came to drop off a body and went right back out. I thought they were still there and needed to ask a question. I walked into the embalming area and this dude was sitting up on the gurney, looking right at me when I opened the door, and it literally made me pee a little in fright. Turns out the transport guys picked up the body from an area hospital. He'd passed away while in a slightly reclining position and rigor had set in. They couldn't flatten him out. Still the scariest moment in my career, even if I got a laugh out of it later.
No! Warn a person. Right? Don't just throw it in there and then leave and then have somebody who doesn't know what's going on walk into a situation like that.
God, they probably got a kick out of scaring the shit out of him, though, honestly.
Oh, I would leave and never come back.
Nope. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
These people have much stronger stomachs than me. No fucking way. This next one is by Q Slade. I got punched in the balls by a dead guy. Whoa. I used to work hospital security. Part of our job was to help with the 1080 assists, movement of bodies to and out of the morgue. I was on a call to move one, and the body's limbs were sticking out at odd, stiff angles. I attempted to move the corpse's arms into a better spot to shimmy the bag into the body fridge. His arm stayed in place for a moment, but when I released my grip, smack! Old buddy hit me right in the sack. Yeah, that arm wasn't ready to be put down.
No. Next one is from Princess Honey Bunny. I've told this story a number of times. I actually clarified it with my dad, but my grandparents both worked in an insane asylum back in the 30s, all the way to the 60s. It was one of those scary lobotomy, straitjackets, and padded room places, the kind you only see in movies now. The morgue used to put silver or gold, can't remember, coins on the eyes to keep them from opening when rigor mortis set in. Every night, someone was breaking into the morgue and stealing all of the coins off the dead bodies. The morgue owner-operator got fed up. That night, he laid down with the coins on his eyes and waited. Sure enough, the person came in through the window and started picking coins off the dead people. When the thief had taken the coins off the owner-operator sat up and said, "Hey, give me back my coins." The thief turned white, dropping the bag of coins, and ran out of there, never to be seen again. I mean, I would do the same damn thing. That is just excellent.
Oh, man, that's smart thinking. But also, block the window? At least now, so they solved two problems, right? They scared the guy into never coming back, and they figured out how they were getting in. Yep. So, win-win situation. I couldn't imagine. No. And laying there, fake pretending to be dead with a bunch of other dead bodies?
I mean, you're an owner-operator of a morgue anyway. That's not gonna...
I guess. These people have strong stomachs. This whole thing just gives me the ick. I'm like, oh, man. Okay. The next one is from Sever Sonda. Back in my hippie days, we, my two kids and I, lived in a little town about 30 miles into the hills outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. On my birthday, we had a party, and later that night, we all decided to go pay the old, and I mean old, cemetery a visit. My daughter, who was about 8 at the time, decided to run around, and she ran right into a collapsed grave. We ran over to get her out. She was really scared, and a friend picked her up by the arm, only to have grabbed an arm bone with her. It was really creepy, but funny too in a macabre kind of way. That ended our cemetery visits.
Wow.
But I hope they got that girl therapy.
or she turned out like me.
Is there a story that happened in your childhood that you haven't told me?
No, I'm just a weirdo.
Okay. I mean, you know, New Mexico. I cannot. I would be so scared of the dark. I would just live in light all the time. No.
See, that's why you're constantly surrounded by sunlight.
I never fell into an old grave.
But it's just, that's who you are as a person, no matter what.
Scared of everything?
Basically.
Yes. That's correct.
Next up is from Swaz Base. Okay. My creepiest moment was when I was in the morgue by myself at 4 a.m. I was using the lift to put a body into a crypt. It had reached roughly eye level when the power went out. It is now pitch dark. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. Then all the fans died, and all I could hear was the crinkling of body bags. That's when I start to hear disembodied voices. I couldn't make out what they were saying or where they were coming from. The power comes back a few moments later on, and I move on with my night. Turns out the voices were just the automated, "The power has gone out, switching to generator power" message. Ha! I mean, perfect timing, though. Just couldn't have been better. Like, nothing creepy going on here. Dude just had the fright of his life.
Just, looking at a dead person in the eyes with the lights out and hearing crinkling bags and sounds. But why were the body bags crinkling?
Maybe from the air settling after the fans turned off. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm really glad I wasn't there. Wow. Nope. That's just another no from me. Okay. So this next one is from Coffee Mutt. Same. EMT in a past life. We get a call for someone who has no pulse, not breathing. The first on scene is a cop, and my partner and I arrive shortly after. The guy's in his bathroom. That happens very frequently, by the way. Deceased, but still recently enough that we should make attempts to save him. It's a little tight in the room, but we managed to place a backboard on the floor and just need to get him onto it to start compressions. I take the guy's airway and head, my partner takes the guy's chest and shoulders, and the cop gets his legs. We lift him to the backboard, and it turns out he has a prosthetic foot. Our officers already felt over their heads on med calls, so when this cop was left with a foot in his hand and nothing else, he literally ran out of the room. Not creepy to my partner and myself, we could add diabetes to a likely med history, but the officer, man.
Yeah,
I do not blame that man.
There's a reason why cops are cops and, EMTs are EMTs.
EMTs are EMTs. Oh, no. I'd be like, nope, not today. Not today.
Today, Satan.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Mm-mm. All right. Last up is from Crazy Diamond. A friend told me this story ages ago, and I hope I remember it well enough. When he was 18, he worked for a single plane transport contractor, and one time they had to carry a body. It wasn't autopsied or prepared for funeral yet. That was where they were taking it. So it was wrapped and just sort of laying on the floor. Now, when you're in the air, I'm sure other pilots will tell you, the rise and fall of the airplane will do strange things with gravity, air pressure, and necromancy. In any case, the corpse had enough air in its lungs that the lower pressure outside the body caused the air inside to be expelled slowly and through the larynx. Meanwhile, rise and fall of the plane caused the body to sit up and the wrapping to fall away. Sitting up caused it to expel more air from the lungs. So, while flying a dead body in the plane, they heard a long, low moan and saw a dead body sit up in the back of the plane. The pilot panicked, left the controls, and ran back and punched. ran back and punched the corpse across the face, knocking it back down. He told me about how they figured out what had happened, but I was laughing too hard at that point to really pick up the details. I do remember that they had to explain the additional damage to the corpse when they arrived at their destination. Dude was literally just acting on fight or flight, and he went and fought.
Literally flying a plane and gets up.
Punches a poor dead guy in the face.
How do you explain that?
I had a moment, and I woke up and chose violence.
There was this thing. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it. Or just like he felt like he rolled over, or turbulence or something. You know,
it's.
Are you honest or do you lie?
Thinking if that was my family member, you know, would you be mad if somebody punched your dead loved one in the face? No, I'm me personally. If their soul left their body because of what my family member did, no, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. But it is that is kind of a. It's not funny he punched a dead guy, but it is funny he punched a dead guy. You know what I mean?
It is. It's very funny given the
circumstance. Yes.
Oh, man. It is good to be back. We've been quiet on social media because, you know, hiatus and all that. But things are starting to calm down. So be sure to check out our Instagram, Weird True Crime, to get memes, updates, and more.
Oh, one last thing before we say goodbye. The answer to our riddle. Here it is one more time. What is so delicate that saying its name breaks it? The answer? Silence. I wanted to try to go easy on y'all to ease you back into it. Did you figure it out?
Literally never.
We need a running tally of how many Gina's actually figured out.
0.
Full disclosure, I try to figure them out before I read the answer, before I add them in the script. 9 times out of 10, I can get it. I'd have to go back and look at the past ones we've done, but there have been a couple that have stumped me that I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to admit that, even though I'm admitting it now.
It just shows how much more clever you are than me, which is not. So, yeah. Until next time, stay safe.
And make good choices.
Bye.
In reports, it says that nope, that's not right. And probably another 500,000 sets of native remains that are being held. No, I got it all up.
The Harvard case,
the NAGPRA was enacted to provide. I knew I was gonna. Repatriation. I know how to say it, but as soon as I was like, I know I'm going to fluff it up. In November 1990, the NAGPRA was enacted to provide. I did it again! Also known as the Consensual Donation and Research Integrity.
We've been talking too much. Oh, man.
Hit straight to the jewels.
That's another good story, though. No, thank you. Oh, my God.
Well, Gina just levitated out of her chair about 3 inches.